Hi, this is Vicky from the Spellbound Bead Company, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful Flanders poppies bracelet that was designed by Aleksandra Lysenko for the Preciosa Seed Bead Company. We're going to need Preciosa petals. You're going to need at least 104 of these. You're going to need some 6x9mm pressed leaves. I've got some size 6 seed beads, some size 8 seed beads and some twin beads all in black, and I've got some size 10 seed beads in a transparent brown. You'll also need 2 size 10 needles and some thread. We've used black Nymo. You also need a pair of scissors and some nail varnish to finish off any knots. So let's get started. To make a poppy flower like this one here, what you're going to need is some size 8 seed beads, some size 6 seed beads, some twin beads and some petal beads. Now when you use the petal beads, you just need to be aware, I don't know how well we can get this on the camera, that one side has got a dimple and the other side is the back of the dimple, so it's slightly curved. Doesn't really matter which way round you use them as long as you're consistent. I've decided I'm going to use them dimple side up in my poppies, and this will mean that you need to be aware of which way you're threading them onto your needle and thread. Now the poppy's done using 2 needles. So you put 1 needle on either end of, I've got about 1 metre of Nymo here, and I just need to stretch it slightly before we use it. So just give it a slight tug through your fingers. And there we go. So we're going to start by picking up a size 8 seed bead, petals from the back to the front, then a size 6 seed bead, and then another petal from the front to the back. What you need to be consistent is the side that you want to face up needs to face in towards that size 6 seed bead. So in my case I've got dimples either side of the size 6. So if we pull that down so it's roughly in the middle of the thread, and then I'm going to take one of the needles through that poppy again there, so that you're going to make a loop with a poppy petal. I keep calling them poppies, they're petals, I do apologise. With a petal either side, a size 6 seed bead one side and a size 8 the other. So the 6s sit on the top of the petal poppy and the 8s sit on the bottom. So we're going to pick up, now this is where you have to just think about what you're doing. If I turn this around like this, there we go, we're going to pick up a size 6 on my right hand needle and a size 8 on the left hand needle, and then we're going to pick up a petal, I'm going to pick up a petal with the dimple facing the size 6, and we're going to go through with both. If you can do this, if you put your needles through your bead at the same time like that, then it just means you're not going to pierce your thread, which is when you're doing this particular technique is quite likely. So pull that down, pull that all the way down, and you just need to make sure that your petal is sitting on the outside edge. If it does tuck through, which I'm sure one of these will not before I finish it, you just need to loosen it off and make sure it's sitting on the outside. So again, pick up a 6 and an 8 on each needle, then your petal and go through. And pull it down. Yeah, now here's what I was just talking about. You see that's sitting on the inside there. Just make sure you make sure you turn it round so that it's sitting on the outside. So again, a 6, an 8, and a petal, and come through. Oops, missed the needle. Pull through. There. So that's 5 petals, so 1 more petal. So an 8, a 6, and petal, and pull that through. There. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the needle with the 8s on down, and I'm just going to pick up 1 size 6 seed bead. This is where we're going to join your petals into a ring. So we're going to come down through that hole in the first petal. There we go. Turn your work over. Move that thread out the way. Then we're going to pick up a size 8, just the one, and we're going to go back up through the hole in the last petal we've added, and give that a pull. Okay, and there you go. So if we go, just reinforce that thread path. So go through the 6, down through the petal, there. Oh, that was lucky, I went through that 8 at the same time. Now what the pattern tells you to do here is to tie these 2 threads together. So we're just going to tie those there. Whoops. And that will just tighten it up slightly. There we go, and you can see you've got your petal shape forming. So again, just working with the 1 needle, you come back up to the front face of the poppy, and then you're going to go through one of the size 6 beads. There. Now we're going to use the pattern calls for solo beads. We're using twin beads. All it means is that you've got an extra hole showing on the outside, but they're not particularly visible, particularly when we're using the black twins, so it's nothing to worry about. So we'll pick up a twin and we'll go through the next 6 around there, and a twin, and through, and a twin, and through, and through, and twin, and through, and a twin, and through. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to run the needle round all these beads in the middle a second time, and what that will do is it'll just firm it up and whoops, make it a bit sturdier, trying not to catch any threads. So have a look, where's that thread gone? That's clever of me, isn't it? There we go, under the petal. And pull that one through. And there you can see you've got your completed poppy. Now to make the bracelet, you're going to need to make 18 of these in total. So what I'm going to suggest you do is that you make 9 like this one that you completely finish the thread ends off on. So you've just got one complete self-contained unit. And then you make 9 like this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off this thread end that's on the top side of the poppy. So I'm just going to tie a knot with my working thread, and go through another couple of beads there. I'm going to tie another knot and come through and tie a third knot. Well, no, not tie a third knot, come through a few more beads, and then making sure I've got the right thread, just give that a snip off there. Okay, so we can move that needle out of the way. Now what we need to do is connect this poppy to this poppy. So we'll do that with the thread that we left on the back of the poppy that we've just made. So you need to make sure that your needle is coming out of one of the size 8 seed beads on the back, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to zip these two poppies back to back. It's quite difficult to show on camera, but I will do my best. So I'm coming out of there, so this is where you need to think about it. If I put that one that way, I'm going to go through the bead that way, because then they're going to sit together properly. So we'll go through that one, and then through this one, and then through that one, and then through this one, and pull that a bit tighter there, and then we're going to go through that one and there, and then through there, and then through there, and you're sort of zigzagging back and forth between the two poppies. It's really important that you don't get your threads twisted at this point, because you're sort of relying on being able to pull this up in a minute. So just take your time with this one. Nearly done. This one, oh, I'm out of my finger. This one, and through there, and then if you are gentle you can pull, and it will pull the two sets of beads so that they interlock. Right, this is quite tricky to see, so pull that tight, and then we'll take the thread round again just to reinforce it, and finish this thread off, and I'll be back in a second to show you how to turn this into a bracelet. So once you've got your 9 pairs of poppies connected back to back, you're going to string your bracelet up. So to do this, I'm using some size 10 brown seed beads, and I've got some green leaves that are 9 by 14 millimeters. We'll give you all the codes for these in the information that goes with the video, so no need to write it down just at the minute. So what I've done is I've actually started a new piece of thread, and I've got it coming out from the seed beads between the 2 layers, and it's just coming up the side. So I'm going to pick up 3 size 10s on one needle, a leaf with the curve facing, so I've got the concave side of the leaf facing the bottom of the bracelet, and then another 3 size 10s, and then on the other needle I'll do the same thing. So I'll pick up 3 and a leaf, and 3, 1, 2, 3, and slide those down so they're sitting. You sort of need them to sit between the layers, and then I'll pick up another one of the pairs, and I'm going to come through 3 beads up the side there, And then what I'm going to do, you've got 12 beads in this sort of inner ring, so I'm going to skip 3, which will be 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to take the other needle up through 3 beads on this other side here. Okay, depending on how you've reinforced that poppy, it can be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but it will go through. So there we go, and we're going to repeat this up the length of the bracelet. So we're going to pick up 3, 3 and 1. Make sure it's sitting so that the petal will sit the correct way up on the outside of the bracelet. And 3 that side, and the same again on this side. Now if you do find you need to adjust the length of the bracelet, this is where you can do it, because obviously you can put a few more seed beads in between the flowers so that you get a slightly bigger gap. The other thing you can do, of course, is make an extra pair of flowers. That will add a bit more length there. So there's that side, and then we'll go in there. So you're going to repeat this down the length of the bracelet until you get to the last pair of flowers, or the last sort of set of flowers that you add. And because these are going to be part of the clasp, you're going to add a little bit more length between the pair at the end. So let's just make sure I put that on the right way. There's 1 and 2, and we go 3 and 3. So what I'll do is I'll just pause this video and we'll skip ahead to the end, and we'll show you how to put the last pair on. It won't be a minute. So now that we've got the 8 beads connected in a row, we're going to add the 9th one, but because this works as sort of the button on a button and loop clasp, you do need to add a few extra seed beads to give you a bit more room. So I'm actually going to add 5 size 10s. No, done that wrong. It is 4. Then the leaf, and then another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come up 2, 3 up the side there, and that'll just give you a little bit of room there. You can see how this one isn't quite as close as these here, and that just gives you a little bit of room for your loop of seed beads to go around. So I'll go through again, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go through those ones. Okay, now obviously this is a good point to check for fit. So if you put it around your wrist like so. Now for my wrist, I would actually put another pair of poppies on, because that's quite a big gap there. If it was only a small gap, as I said before, you can just go back and adjust the spacing between the pairs of beads, but for the purposes of the sample, that's long enough. So what I would do is actually cross these threads over and run them all the way back down through the beads, because as it stands at the minute you've only got a single thread holding all these beads in place, and this is quite a heavy bracelet, so you need to just take your time and work your way back down through the beads till you come back to the other end. So there we go, just make sure it's all laid properly and work your way back down through. So this is one of those things where it's a little bit fiddly, so just take your time, make sure you catch all of the beads. That will just help protect your thread. Now we're going to come down through. Just make sure you keep it nice and snug. Okay, so I'll just do this reinforcing and then I'll be back to show you how to put the loop on the other end. Back in a minute. So I've done all the reinforcing and I've just joined in a new thread at the beginning of the bracelet again, and I'm just going to add the loop for the button end to fasten into. So I'm going to use one of the size 8 seed beads, a leaf, and then I'm going to pick up 35 of the size 10s, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, does help if it's connected to the needle. Thread the needle and we'll try that one again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 20, 30, 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put on our last leaf and a size 8 seed bead, and then I'm going to go back through the 3 across. This one we're going across the beads at the end of the poppy rather than up the sides. And if we pull that tight, like so, and there's your loop. Now before you do anything else, you just need to check that that loop will fit over the end here, which it will, so that would be great. So undo that again, and then we'll reinforce this thread. So I'd suggest you go through the loop 2 or 3 times for security. Obviously the more you can go through it the better. So I'll just go through it again just to show you this. And then once we've reinforced that, we'll finish all the thread ends off, and there you'll have your finished bracelet.